Welcome to Bobo Jessie Stitches. I'm Jessie, and this is my channel, mostly about cross stitching. Today is January 2nd, Monday. What are days? And so, whether you are new or returning, welcome in. Let's have a good time. I hope everyone had a wonderful season in December, and that whatever you celebrate or don't celebrate, it was exactly what you needed. And so I wish you a prosperous and happy 2023 with whatever it is that you need. So I did miss the December Flosstube video. I won't bore you with the details, but let's just say that trees were trying to kill me, and I was on an awful lot of medicine to try to get me to the point where I was able to breathe and stuff like that. So thank you for your patience and understanding. But we're here to talk about cross stitching, not about my allergies and how bad they were. So we're going to do a double, but not really, because the projects I worked on in November carried over into December, except for one. So let's go ahead and kind of talk about both what I did in November and what I did in December, and then I'm going to have like a little bit of a year wrap up, and that's going to be today's video. So, all right. So first off, in November was not a productive month for my stitching. It's fine. But I put in 7,409 total stitches over the course of 25 days. I worked on 4 projects, and 3 of those I also worked on in December, so we'll show that as part of December. But the only thing I did not work on in December was Cinderella. And, oops, here it is. So just as a reminder, this is what Cinderella will look like when it is complete. This is a kit from MCG Textiles. It's on 18 count AIDA. It's the kit provided floss, and I'm stitching that 2/2. And here it is. So I got a lot done. I put in 3,277 stitches in this, and effectively it's just pretty much all of this band down here is what got done. You'll see this big kind of bulk of emptiness right there. That's where there's some specialty floss in there, that opalescent thread that's just kind of misery to stitch on. So I've been kind of avoiding it for a minute, but I will get back to it. But I am pretty much almost done with this page. But pretty much where you see this line for the prince and Cinderella, that's the bottom of page 3. And so that is, and then of course all of this is page 4. But yeah, so that's where we got to. I'm gonna do a separate video of Flosstube Extra, a WIP Parade, where I'll talk about my total 2023 plans. But going into January right now, my goal is to finish page 3. So that's my goal for January for Cinderella, is to work on page 3. January is a big work month for me. Like, I'm very busy. I do a lot of hours. I work on average 10 to 12 hours, including weekends, in January. It's just a busy month, so I don't get a lot of stitching done, but my goal is to finish that page in Cinderella. So there we go. Otherwise, let's talk about what I did for some other projects that I also worked on in both months. So first up is Ghost Stories. I worked on Ghost Stories for 3 days in November for a total of 865 stitches. And in December, I worked on it for 4 days for 1,288 stitches. And with that, I have a finish. Ah. So here it is. So this is by the Witchy Stitcher, Ghost Stories. It did come in a box. I stitched it 2/2 with all of the called for floss on Fright Night by Fortnight Fabrics. This is a super fast stitch. I don't know if it's available yet. I don't know how long if it is. But if you're looking for a fun, fast stitch, in total, I really only worked on this for I don't even think 4 and 3, and then a couple of days in October, like less than 10 days, 10 days of stitching on this. So a lot of fun. So that was one of my finishes from December. Very excited about that. All right. Next up, I also worked on Pride Tapestry in November. I worked on that for 3 days for 631 stitches. And in December, I worked on it for 7 days for 1,487 stitches. And for me, this is a finish. Da-da-da! Here it is. So I have decided that I was only going to stitch the unicorn. It's a very large pattern, and I've been working on this for quite a while. And I thought, it's time. It's time for me to call this a finish. And I started this in June of 21, so when it was originally released. So for me, for now, this is done. This is on 16 count AIDA hue by Fortnight Fabrics. I stitch everything with the called for DMC, except for I substitute the Diamante with Blanc Etoile. The Diamante for me was not very fun to work with. I found the Etoile to be a little easier to work with, so that is what I did. So very excited that this is a finish for now, and I'm not really sure how I'm going to fully finish this. Honestly, I have an entire drawer of finishes that I need to fully finish. We'll talk about that another day. So very excited about this one, and it has been my travel piece, and because of the color blocking, it was very easy to travel. You don't have to carry a pattern with it, and so it's so I really enjoy it. So if anyone is thinking about stitching it and they're not sure, but they do a lot of traveling, and you just like, I want to be able to stitch when I'm on the bus or at football games, which is where I normally took her. I highly recommend it, because once you get the outline done, it's just all color blocking, and it's very easy to do, very therapeutic stitching, and so and just has a sneak preview, right? If you are not already following Dee and Dee's 20 Stitches and Uncanny Kari's newsletter, if you're not already getting that, they are going to be hosting a Stitch for Pride for the whole year for 2023, and who knows, maybe this will be a project you can start. So that's finish number 2 in December. And I realized I didn't give you my December stats. So in December, I actually stitched for 30 days on a total of 6 projects. I put in 11,430 stitches. So a very productive December. That includes some holidays, right? I took a couple of days off, did some significant stitching on a few days, but that is where I did. And then next up in November and December is that I also worked on Halloween Wreath by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. So this is a year-long stitch-along. Clue 4 has been released today, but we are, for this 2 months, working for Clue 2 and 3. I did finish Clue 2 in the month of November, and I have been working on Clue 3, which is, Clue 2 is where the cat is, and then Clue 3 is basically the bow all the way to the edge, and so that is what we're working on. And let me get to my information about, there it goes. So, and here is where I got to. I did not finish Clue 3. Not yet. I anticipate being able to finish it tonight. This is what I'll be stitching on today. So I am stitching this 2/2 with all of the called for DMC on 32 count Lugana Silver Moon by Yummy Fiberlicious Fibers, and this is such a beautiful piece of fabric. This is fun. I love Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. It's to me, they're so cute. They're just cute. And I did attend the Jingle Ball, and I ended up purchasing the Halloween wreath, the Christmas wreath, which I did not do last year. But now I'm doing Halloween. You got to complete the series, right? So, but that's where we are. So far, I'm doing my best to keep up, and you know me, Halloween 365. So very happy to do that. But for this one, I worked on this for 9 days in November for 2,636 stitches. That's me completing the clue. And then so far in December, not so far, there's no more December, I worked on it for 3 days for 1,059 stitches. That's why it's not complete, but it will hopefully be done tonight while we watch, I think, the Rose Bowl. There's been a lot of football in this house recently, and I was like, can we not have so much football? He's like, it's bowl season. And so it's okay. It's perfectly okay. And so that's everything I did in November and in December in total together. And then, of course, I did a few other things in December separately. And so first up is another finish, a Sart Anna finish. I did get the box from Evertoe from Caroline, which was the patterned Frisian Band from Modern Folk Embroidery. And I was able to keep up. And it is a start and finish. And so here it is. There is a mistake in there, but I think it's pretty I don't think you can really tell it's there. So if you can, don't tell me. But this is on 32 count linen Panetonne. I think that's how you pronounce that. By Leo and Roxy Floss Co. I think they've been rebranded to Roxy Floss Co. And it's also 2/2 with all of the called for Roxy Floss Co. floss. And obviously the patterns by Modern Folk Embroidery. This was a lot of fun. Now, I'm going to say this. Now, I think they sold out, so there wasn't a whole, if you really wanted to do it and you didn't get it on time, there was not a whole option. But this is what I'm going to say. If you are thinking about in future, whatever month it may be, where there's these kind of countdown boxes and things, I have really enjoyed the stitching countdowns. I did one with Forbidden Fiber Co. last year. That was Haunted House. Now, that one, it was very difficult to keep up. It was a large piece, and so was this, but it was a large piece, and it was hard to kind of maintain the colors and be able to finish the piece. For me, it was anyways. But so it took me a little bit longer to get that done. But but this one, it was very, very manageable. So I will highly recommend. I highly recommend the Forbidden Fiber Co. box because it was a great pattern, great products. But I also would recommend the Evertotes one. So if they decide to do something again, either this team or Caroline at Evertotes. I'm not exactly sure who's the one that pasted out. I don't know if it was Jacob or Caroline. But whoever pasted out, it was well pasted because I was able to maintain even the days that were 300 plus stitches. There was never one that was over 400 stitches in a clue. Most of them range between 150 up to 350, but that's a reasonable amount. And so even when you hit one that was like 350, like 1 or 2 days after that, you would have one that was like 150 stitches. And so you could catch up. And so I think that has a stitch along goes, that's a countdown, and you're like, can I finish it in a month? Now, it could be, there were many times where this was the only thing I stitched on in the evenings and I didn't stitch on anything else, but it was doable. It was stitching. Look how vibrant and beautiful that is. Ugh. I didn't know what I was going to get. But it was Jacob, Modern Folk Embroidery. You knew, if you like his style, you knew you were going to like this. So I really, really enjoyed that. 24 days. So I stitched on this every day but one, and I still finished it on Christmas Day. And it was 7,309 stitches total in this project. Okay. All right. Next up, I'm going to kind of go in order of how I worked on it. I ended up working on Tree of Magic for one day. This is by Barbara Anna. This is the only completion that I have. I put in 113 stitches into it, and everything is the kit provided by Nitka Moscow. 2/2 on this, whatever this linen is, and with the called for DMC. And basically what I did is I finished up, like I put in these mushrooms. That's all I did. And so, but that's where we are on Tree of Magic. I love these mushrooms. I love Barbara Anna patterns. I don't know why I don't do more of them. I buy a lot of them, but I don't do more of them. So, but that is that one. Next up is I searched for an Ancestor by the Laurel Witch. And this is what it will look like when it is done. And it's basically, I search, and just as a reminder on what it says, I searched for an ancestor who would have been considered a suffragette, harlot, witch, mystic, queens. And I've mentioned it so many times. This piece really speaks to me on a spiritual level, and I'm really enjoying working on it, except that I don't get very far on it. So here it is. I am stitching this on 32 count Lugana. This is Haunted by Seraphim Fabrics. And here it is. So essentially what I did is I continue working through the border. And so I added, yeah, y'all, I am doing some fabric chicken here. Like, in order for it to fit this way so I could have all of this, which is silly. But I kind of basically from here onto the edge is kind of what I did this month. I'm really excited because once I put in this little rose at the end on this part, I am going to go down and start working on the lady. So, so next up will be to be working on this. And seeing her body get filled out, and yeah, exciting. All right. And then last but not least, I have a new start. I ended up also starting. I was loving me some Jacob, so I decided to go ahead and start Here Be Dragons, which is part of his Dark Crosses line. And so this is that. I worked on this for 2 days and I put in 300 stitches, so it's not very exciting. So I am doing this on papyrus 32 count linen by Color and Cotton. And the floss, remember the name correctly, is Plum Shadow by Roxy Floss Co. And that's it. That's all I got done. I got the top border done. But that's the hard part, right? It's that those long counts where you recount it like 7 times because you just want to be sure that you get it done correctly. Yeah, that's where we are. So that is what I'm going to be working on. I did buy a kit from Evertotes for it, but when I did my floss toss and I kind of looked at the color, it was a little too tonal, too tone on tone. And so I opted to go ahead and switch out the fabric. I didn't want to start and then feel like it wasn't quite right. And so everything I did in the floss tossing, I felt like it's a little too dark. So that's where we are. That's it. That's all my stitching for 2 months. In total, 7 projects, I guess. But, you know, that's nothing to sneeze at. I got 3 finishes, right? 3 finishes. Almost 2. And one of those was a finish for now, almost another finish for now. So nothing to sneeze at. Can't complain, right? So I've changed my setup a little bit. I purchased a new lamp and backlight, you know, for this, and so my camera usually is far enough down here that when I'm looking at the camera, I'm looking at the screen at the same time, like you don't really see it. But this one's a little bit further up to kind of give me a little bit of a bigger view and stuff like that. And so now I keep forgetting. So forgive me, it's going to take me probably a couple of months to get used to looking up as opposed to looking down, because I usually look down and make sure that everything's in frame and stuff. So, all right. Well, that takes care of my projects. Let's talk about things I bought. Things I got, more accurately. How do I get this all situated? All right. Actually, before I talk about things that I purchased, I'd have to tell you what happened in my year. So I did do a 2022 wrap up. And I'm going to include the reel that I created from Instagram with all of my finishes. It's all of my finishes but 2. I had 2 finishes that I have for Smalls Exchange that I don't have in my stories, and so, you know, but that's okay. So stay tuned. See my finishes at the very end, and I hope that you enjoy that. But overall, in 2022, I worked on a total of 27 projects. I started 22 on January 1. I had 13 WIPs. So, or on January or December 31st, going into the new year. I did have a new year start. I consider that a start. I don't consider that what I carried in. And so I started with 13. I started 14 projects in 22, of which I have in total 16 finishes. Of those finishes, half were new starts and finishes in the current year. My goal for 22 was to finish any project that I had started as of 2020, right? So I didn't consider anything anything I started in 2021 was still fair game to carry over into 23, but I really wanted to finish 22 with all my projects that were started at least in 2020 or earlier, with some caveats. I had some exceptions to that. I didn't include my time capsule projects. So my time capsule projects were projects that I'd had from way in the back, right? Like it was projects I started in high school or in college that just somehow ended up being UFOing and I didn't work on it, but some of them I'm really going to bring back and get done. And so I didn't include that in my goals, and I also did not include my full coverage piece. And so I did only one project I did not complete, which was my was Cinderella. I wanted to finish Cinderella in 22. That did not happen. It will get done in 23. Like it will be my primary project that I will focus on in my challenge groups, and so until it's done. So that's going to be the big one, and so so I'm ending as of 2 days ago, as of December 31st on 2022, I had 11 projects carry it over into this year. As you would expect, I do have a new start as of yesterday, but you're gonna have to wait until I actually show that in my January update. Tease. Actually, you're not gonna have to wait so much. I am gonna film a WIP parade. It will be part of that WIP parade. So, but that's it. In total for the entire year, I stitched 116,849 stitches. Now, I didn't stitch every single day, but I did do an average on 365 days, and that was 320 stitches on average per day, which I feel like is pretty good. I try to stitch between 300 to 400 stitches a night, and so I think that's reflective of the days I didn't stitch. And there were days, obviously, I did more than that, so fantastic. Overall, like what's kind of happened is that I finished all of the projects I started, except for Cinderella and Sailor Moon Squad. So overall, I thought it was a good year. I'm going to talk about my plans when I do my WIP parade. So just kind of as a teaser, and my plan is going to be a kind of similar thing going into 23. My plans is to try to finish any project that I started in 21 or earlier, with the exception of Sailor Moon Squad, and that's actually going to be 4 projects, but you'll see all of that in that WIP parade. All right. Okay, so things that I got. So first up, I am in 2 Fabric of the Month clubs. I am in Color and Cotton's Neutral, and I get that every other month. And so I did get December's, which is Heirloom 8 lace. And so here it is. It's a little dark today, so I don't know if the colors are showing, but it's pretty fair. That's a fair representation of it. So here it is. Lovely neutral. So wait till you see these two from Yummy Fiberlicious, because, I mean, seriously. So this is November's. This is Castle in the Sky. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Isn't it just beautiful? Here's the modeling on this side. Oh. The thing with her fabrics is that I just really always want to eat them. But when I get them, I'm never quite sure exactly what to stitch on them. I know that they'll happen. I know I'll find the right piece for them. But sometimes they just sit there and I just want to stitch on something and I can't. And I don't know what works. So, but that's November's. Beautiful. And then this is December's, which is Skyfall. And look at the picture that inspired it. There it is. And here it is. Let me look at that. Ugh. Don't you just want to eat that? Well, you shouldn't, but don't you want to? Makes me want to. I am on the wait list. I would like to convert to a linen. I feel like I have a lot of Lugana, and I really would like to be more sustainable in my choices. And so I am on the wait list for both to hopefully switch to linen and start stitching more on linen. Okay. All right. Now, as a bonus in the Evertotes, we did get a bonus pattern. So here is Dream of a Winter Garden. So this was a bonus pattern that came in with the box that we opened on Christmas Day. And look how beautiful that is. So I don't think I'll start stitching on this, but I think I will plan to start it in December of 23 because it is, or maybe it'll be a midsummer start as you start dreaming of winter when it's really hot here, especially here in Texas. So, all right. Next up, I did have two more things, which is I purchased from Forbidden Fabric Co. She is doing a steampunk sheep series, and I have been trying to make sure I order all of them as they come in. But I did receive two over the past couple of months. First up is Sir Sirius Sterling. He clearly likes his dollars. And so these are fully kitted, and so it includes the floss and the fabric, and so this is the fabric that goes with this, which is spearmint. And here's all of the oops. I'm not sure these actually go in there. Nope, I think they do. So, and here's the floss toss. One of them might not belong in here. We'll see. I'll figure it out later. So there's that one. These are so cute that I just love the idea of these steampunk sheep. You know, because one, who doesn't love steampunk? Two, who doesn't love sheep? So there's that one, and of course it comes in. She includes a little bag. And then the second one, I think this is the villain of our steampunk sheep story. And this is Jasper Wallace. Look at that beard. Isn't he sinister looking? And then the fabric for this one is woodland. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that fabulous? Oh, that's fabulous. And then here is all of the thread drops for that. Very exciting. Very exciting. Now, I did talk about having purchased a kit for Here Be Dragons from Evertotes, and I felt that the fabric was a little bit too dark, but here's the fabric. So this is a 32 count linen catnip. It's a beautiful fabric. I'm just going to find the right project for that. So all right, that's everything that I purchased for myself. But I did receive a cute little gift exchange. So this is in. Here is going to be my plug for the Fandom Stitching Central. That's on Facebook. All the information will be down below for the challenges that I mentioned. So these 20 stitches I'm going to list down below. So, I think I can. And but I'm going to list the Facebook group for the Fandom Stitching. I am a team lead this year, working with my friend Adele, Delcat Meow, both on Facebook and on Instagram. Y'all may already know her. She hasn't filmed a Flosstube in a while, but she did have some Flosstubes for her there. So we are going to co-team lead on the Team Dwarfs. The theme for Fandom Stitching this year is Lord of the Rings. And you don't have to be a fan of the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit or anything along that lines. All it really is that we're centralized around a theme for a fandom, and that's what we're using to create the prompts to stitch. There are going to be some people who are big fans. So last year, 22 was Star Wars. This year, 23 is going to be Lord of the Rings. Some people are big fans stitching the Lord of the Rings projects and are really excited. And some people are just there just to use the prompts. And that's perfectly okay. You can come and join us. You don't have to be on a team. There's no requirements. It's not a competitive environment at all. We don't want people to feel stressed out by this. It really, truly is just about looking for a prompt so you can kind of work your whips and have some progress moving forward. It's really, truly what it is. And so the teams are there just to build community and camaraderie, but not really for, but no one's winning anything. It's just bragging rights. But one of the things we did in the stitching fandom was that we did a smalls exchange and a little gift exchange for December for our fans. And look at this sweet little guy. Look at this Totoro that I received. I'm just so happy with him. I am probably going to refinish him, but it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And so thank you for my little gift. And so that's it. That's all my stitching content for this month. for 2 months, it's short. It's only 30 minutes, but that's okay. Lots of plans for 23. I am going to be working on, it's a new year. Now, it's not actually my Flossiversary. My Flossiversary is in May, but I consider the beginning of the year, the beginning of a new season. So this is going into my 3rd year of doing Flosstubes. And so new branding, you probably have already seen it at the beginning. So I've got new branding, new start and everything. And I do have a goal. I'm going to try to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm still part of the under 1,000 subscribers. I understand, like, I look at other people who stitch similar projects that I do, and I understand that we're not everyone's cup of tea, you know, and I see the people who do have the large number of subscribers. I don't stitch like them, and that's okay. But that is one of my goals. Let's see if I can get to 1,000 subscribers. And, but otherwise, I don't have a lot of real plans. We'll talk about it a little bit later in that Flosstube Extra, on what some of those specific plans are. But in January, as I normally do in these regular videos, in January, my focus is going to be on Cinderella, try to get that page complete. It's probably going to take me a while because I've been avoiding all of those specialty flosses for so long. So we'll see how that goes. But otherwise, Halloween Wreath, trying to stay on track of my stitching, of the stitch along, and then whatever other projects just float, you know, just strike my interest in where I want to go based on the prompts, either in from this Stitch for Pride for January or from the Lord of the Rings challenges. Excuse me. All right. That's it. That's all I got. So, but for those of you who have stuck me out to the end, some non-stitchy content. So, first of all, y'all, I'm a geek. I'm a nerd. I like fun things. I like anime. I like Star Trek. I like things like that, right? So I think I've always been pretty upfront about that. Oh, excuse me. If I keep coughing, I'll edit this out. I'm drinking a ginger ale because it's like 80 degrees in Texas. But one of the things I love Halloween 365 for me, right? And we don't go to cons, we don't go to anime cons or anything like that. We've been to a couple here in Houston, but we never did anything. But in thinking in terms of Halloween and pulling forward, and maybe if we do go do some cons, I have been slowly but surely putting together a cosplay of Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service. So with Totoro, my favorite fandom is Studio Ghibli. I love Studio Ghibli. I don't know. It's hard to say I have a favorite fandom. It's probably Sailor Moon. Let's be real. It's Sailor Moon. But I love Studio Ghibli. And so I've been slowly but surely trying to build together some costuming pieces. I have a bow, and I actually purchased a handmade specialty broom from the Renaissance Festival here in Texas for it. But for Christmas, I was like, you know what, sorry, there's some crinkling noises I'm about to show you. So I was like, for Christmas, let's see if I can get some of the things that I would like for my cosplay. And I was like, oh, I searched on Amazon, and there is Kiki's radio. And I was like, all right, let's get the radio. You know, my family, they understand that I'm a nerd and like to do these types of things. So I was like, let me order it. Let me put this on my wish list. It's like $30 almost. So I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be great. Y'all. A pen for scale. It is 2.5 inches. I was like, oh, this really isn't like a big, I thought it was like a stuffed radio. That's what I thought. I don't know, maybe when I saw 2.5, maybe I thought it was like 2.5 feet, which is weird. Like, who wouldn't want to, but I thought it was a stuffed radio. That's what I thought it was. So I was like, oh no, that doesn't, oh. Why is it so expensive? Is it because it's an import? Is it because it comes from Japan? So I took it out of the package, and y'all, oh my goodness, right, y'all? So that is the theme song from Kiki. So it's okay. It's a little tiny, but it's fine. That's it, y'all. Let me know. I'm going to be doing some more videos. I don't think I'll be recording more floss tubes, but I'm going to be doing a lot more floss tube extras. If there's anything that you're interested in, let me know. I will be doing this WIP parade, and that will be my floss tube extra for the month of January. I'm going to hold off for a couple of weeks before I post that because there's so many amazing WIP parades happening right now. It is the time of WIP parades. And so I am going to kind of hold off on posting mine for a couple of weeks. But there will be a WIP parade and talking about my 2023 plans in a couple of weeks. But I'm going to try to do some a little bit extras. I also have something planned, which is, I think will be in February. I'll be showing you how I organize all of my patterns and information about my patterns in Notion. So shout out to Michelle at Witchy Stitchers because it's coming. That video is coming. It's been in progress. It's been in plans for a little bit, and I think I saw that Frizzy Lizzie Stitches. I don't think I watched her video. She also did a video on how she uses Notion for her cross stitch patterns, and I was like, that's a sign. It's a sign for me to get mine posted. So it will probably be in February, but that's going to be that. So I'm going to try to do some floss tube extras, and in a couple of, over the course of the months. I have a few things planned for the next few months, but let me know what's going on and what you think you're going to need. But also, do y'all have a funny story about a gift that you got that you asked for something and it wasn't quite what you thought it was going to be? Share that with me. All right. Wherever you are, I hope that you're having a fantastic day and having a stitchy good time. See you next month. This is the best part. This is the best part.